What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Draft Prospect edition of Paul Talks Patriots. Today is going to be the first out of 3 episodes I'm going to be releasing ahead of the 2025 NFL Draft. We are going to be taking a deep dive into several prospects I believe the Patriots could target in the draft. Now, it's tough to pinpoint, of course, but these guys really stood out to me for where they are projected to go. And guys I believe can help build not only a talented roster, but a culturally sound roster. And today we have the positions of edge, off-ball linebackers, and defensive backs. But for starters, let's start with the edge position. The Patriots made some key additions to this team in the offseason, as well as making some subtractions. We got rid of Dietrich Wise, but we also added K'Lavon Chaisson. We added Harold Landry, the former BC Eagle and player under Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. And they get added to a group that already has Keon White, that already has Anthony Jennings. Now, with that being said, yes, we have some good talent there, but our depth really lacks, I think. I don't know what Harold Landry is going to be used at in this defensive scheme now that he's a little older. The consensus is that he's not what he used to be, but that doesn't mean he's bad by any means. No, he's still going to help us out. Is he a top-tier edge rusher, or pass rusher rather, off of the edge? I'm not sure about that. I would say probably his best days are behind him. We know Anthony Jennings is a very solid edge for facing against the run. We know what Keon White provides and where he's at. He does need some more development, but he is improving. His run defense is a little iffy at times, but we know what he provides in the pass rush. Chaisson, good addition in my opinion. More of a rusher, a pass rusher. But I still think there's room for improvement. And with that being said, there is some very high-end talent available in this draft class, along with having some depth there at the position. I think it's a very good year for edge. With that being said, let's dive into the prospects. First off, we have Abdul Carter out of Penn State. Now, I mean, you could have guessed, and I would say just about every one of you probably knew that this kid was going to be on my list. Now, he, in my opinion, is the number 1 overall prospect in this draft. Yes, that's right, over Travis Hunter. Abdul Carter, 2024 unanimous All-American, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time first-team All-Big Ten his last 2 seasons, and the year before that, in 2022, he was a second team. Kid's been doing it for a while, but boy is he talented. His versatility really stands out to me, and he's at the age of 21 years old. He just turned 21 in January. And this kid wears number 11 for a reason. He is Micah Parsons 2.0, in my opinion. And it's easy to just over-exaggerate and get hyped up about a kid, but if you watch the film, he moves like Micah Parsons. He's Micah Parsons' size, about 6'3", 250, and he's got that versatility that Micah Parsons has. He's an insane athlete. His bend off of the edge is crazy. He gets right around tackles with swift and quick movement, athleticism off the charts. And on top of that, he has pieced together a nice repertoire of pass rush moves. Now, one thing I will point out is that his counter moves aren't really existent yet. But it's only he's only had 1 season as a strictly as an edge rusher. He played off the ball beforehand, and now he is primarily focused on rushing. But with that, he has a high motor. He flies around the field. You can see him running sideline to sideline. He will make plays all over the place. Another positive is he respects the run game. Now, this is a common theme with those linebackers that move to the edge. Of course, the linebackers have to worry about both pass and run. And that just doesn't leave once you become an edge rusher for a lot of players. They will continue to keep an eye out for the run game. And Michael Parsons. Abdul Carter definitely does that. Again, with his athleticism, I believe his coverage ability is top-notch for being an edge. I would trust him every time going against a running back out of the backfield. He's athletic, he's fast. Even a tight end, if they're lined up tight in the tight slot, like near the offensive line, I'd take my chances with Abdul Carter there. You gonna lock him down? No, but I mean, I'll take it. I would live with him there. Now, what are his negatives? Because you guys might have not heard this, but he's not perfect. He has flaws. He has things he needs to work on. With his size, I think he can get a little stronger still. I noticed he did get stonewalled sometimes, and his strength would just deplete immediately. He would run right into a tackle, and then they would just have him locked in there with nothing for Carter to do. That's why I think some counter moves would help him out a lot in his pass rush. And at his size, he's got so much speed, but he's not a really big player, so he can't always rely on bull rush. And he has that power that can turn into strength on a bull rush, but it's not going to work a lot of the time. So that's one thing that really stood out to me. And outside of that, I mean, sometimes he's just his own worst enemy. He is so fast and such an athlete that sometimes he over pursuits, he over commits to something. And there were multiple plays I saw on film where he kind of just like ran right by a tackle. So I'm never going to complain about someone going full speed, and, you know, I'm never going to complain about maximizing your effort in a play. But that's something a little technical that coaches can fix pretty easily, I would say. But you can't hate on a player for putting his full effort into what he is doing. Outside of that, you guys may have heard he has some injury issues, and he hasn't really done anything in the offseason in preparation for the draft. He didn't do anything at the combine. His pro day was very limited. He was talking to teams, but he didn't really do any physical combine activities. But at the end of the day, this is a guy that we would be lucky to have fall to us at number 4 overall. In my opinion, he is a blue chip, one of 2 in this draft, him and Travis Hunter. And I would be ecstatic if we drafted him. Our pass rush has improved since last season because it finished last, so it was only up from there. But it's not perfect. It's far from perfect. And Abdul Carter would get a serious threat into our system and vastly improve it. If we don't take Carter, however, I think we wait. We wait a while because we're focusing on other positions. And like I said, it was improved. So does that mean we're going to be worrying about that in the earlier rounds? Probably not. If Carter's there, you have to take him, in my opinion. But other than that, you don't have to force a pick at edge in this draft. And for that reason, these next 2 prospects are going to be available probably on day 3, honestly. So the next guy I want to talk about is Oluwafemi Oledejo from UCLA. Former Cal player, transferred to UCLA his last 2 years. And just like Abdul Carter, a guy that transitioned from that off-ball linebacker spot to the line of scrimmage. And again, first full season as strictly an edge rusher. Again, a guy that's athletic. and he's got 33 and 3/8 inch of an arm, so he's got some length there on his wingspan. And I'm going to keep saying again and again, similar to Abdul Carter, because he played off ball, Oledejo is very disciplined in the run game. He knows how to hold his gap, hold the edge. He's not going to stray too far to the outside. He likes to hold his place and really contribute to that run game. Outside of that, I think he, similarly, creates a lot of separation with his power. He is a bulky kid. He is built like a linebacker. Like, you look at him, you would assume he played linebacker. He's like 6'3", 250 also, I think, but bulky. He's not like the leanest kid, but he is a tank. So he will create separation with his power. He would get right into your chest pads. And outside of that, it's clear that he has improved as a pass rusher. Again, that separation that he creates is a great first step of doing when you're playing edge, obviously. Your goal is to create separation and get off blocks. It's not to be congested and be caught on blocks, obviously. So he had a very limited game when he first started playing the edge, and I'm not kidding. The improvement I saw from watching film one of the first games of the season to then watching a game at the end of the season, there was a big difference there, which gives me promise for him as a draft prospect that he will have room to improve. So it's very promising to me, and this kid is projected to go probably in the 4th round. So if you can snag him there in the 4th round, I think that's a win. Again, he has more room for growth, and he's limited in his pass rush moves, but he did allude to that being something he wanted to fix. When I was at the post-game press conference following the Senior Bowl, he went up to talk, and that was one thing he said he wanted to work on, refining his pass rushing and being better in that regard. He is a little stiff in the hips, and there's not a lot of bend there, so he's going to be more of a power rush, in my opinion, which is going to work well for him. But that one-dimensionality in his game makes his ceiling a little lower, and so his draft stock's a little lower. But in coverage, yeah, I'll take his chances against a running back for a quick couple seconds. I wouldn't do it consistently, but he's there. It kind of reminds me of Anthony Jennings because Oledejo is going to be a solid run defender. The tape proves it. The proof is in the pudding there. Pass rushing, probably not his thing, but again, you don't know exactly what his ceiling is, but it's not super high. So he could develop into like a reliable pass rusher, but that's not going to be his strong suit at the next level. If we want to get rid of Anthony Jennings, because we've been cycling through these players like they're nothing, and Anthony Jennings happens to be the next one, then I think Oledejo is a good guy to target. And then lastly for edge, it's a guy from New England, from Danbury, Connecticut, and that is Jah Joyner out of Minnesota. And this kid has all the natural gifts you could ask for out of an edge rusher. He's 6'4", 262. That's what he weighed in at the combine. He's got 34-inch arms, which goes a long way for an edge rusher. Everyone talks about it for tackles. Well, there's a reason, because they're going against these edges and they want to create they want to be able to engage first. Well, when the edge rusher has long arms as well, the tackles aren't going to be able to engage first. So he's a little rough around the edges. But he does use his arm length to his advantage, especially in the pass rush. You'll see him reaching his arms out and causing havoc. There was at least one play I saw against USC this past season where he caused Miller Moss to, it was almost a fumble, but he ended up getting the pass off barely, and it was a little dinky floater right into a Minnesota linebacker's hands. So that's what Jah Joyner can do with his gifts. On top of that, he's not the craziest, most crazy. He doesn't possess the most crazy explosiveness, but I like his get off. I think it'll play at the next level. I think it's pretty good. This is also a guy that we're talking about as a captain in 2024 for Minnesota. And he was a two-time All-Big Ten honorable mention player for his abilities. But back to being a captain, I got to talk to him after the Senior Bowl, and I just got a real genuine feel from this kid. He seems like just a nice guy, and a guy, again, that can contribute to a winning team. And he plays aggressive. He plays like, a jerk, but he's not. He's a really nice guy, it seems like. So a guy that I was really impressed with at the Senior Bowl. He got in the backfield multiple times. He had a sack in that game. And if you take a look at his stats, it's pretty consistent. He's been a contributor over the last 3 years at Minnesota. 2 years ago in 2023, he was a big contributor, but last season was the first time he started every game. But his stats over the last 2 years are impressive. 50 tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, which all came in his senior years last year. He had 12 sacks over the last 2 years, and he had 4 forced fumbles. So he gets in the backfield, and when he's not getting sacks, he's creating a lot of pressures, which was evident in film. And as far as his play goes, he needs some technical refinement. That's why he's probably a day 3 pick, early day 3 pick. His bend isn't that great, similarly to Oledejo, but it's there. He's got quick movements. He's got good rush moves. His swing and rip move is very impressive. That's his go-to. But I did see him attempt other moves. I did see him attempt a spin move like a la Dwight Freeney, who is also a native of Danbury, Connecticut. It definitely doesn't work that well for Joyner, but something he can improve on. In the run game, it's very hit or miss. When he's expecting run and playing against the run, he's very good at holding his gap and creating that separation. But sometimes, whether or not it's him just getting sick of the run game and wanting to pass rush, or he just likes to take his gambles, which a lot of edge rushers do, he will completely lose his gap integrity. And there were multiple plays where a running back ran right by him where he should have been. And then there's a very nitpicky thing. Well, I wouldn't say very nitpicky, but a little bit is he gets very narrow sometimes, so that means his hips are turning, and you just don't have power when your feet aren't under your hips, under your shoulders, all in unison. When you're turned sideways, you're a lot weaker, and I think that's something easily fixable. But right now, he's projected to go in the 4th round. I would gladly take him in the 4th round. And there's other guys too. There's plenty of other guys. Again, I said it was a deep class at the edge position. So keep your eyes out on these names. Watch some film on them if you're into that. But again, Abdul, Oluwafemi, Oledejo, and Jah Joyner. 3 guys I liked a lot, and I think the Patriots could target. But that's all I got for edge rushers. Now we're going to move off ball with linebackers. Similarly to the edge position, the Patriots also made some changes at the linebacker position. Most notably, they released a longtime contributor to the defense, 2019 Super Bowl champion Ja'Whaun Bentley. Now, this was something that a lot of people were expecting if you paid attention to reporters. It was out there. Bentley did slim down a little bit to try and play into this new system. Just wasn't going to work out, unfortunately. And I think, in my opinion, is Vrabel just wants a clean slate. in New England. He wants those old leaders out. He got rid of Wise, like I said. He got rid of Jonathan Jones. He got rid of David Andrews. And now he's gotten rid of Juwan Bentley, leaving Joe Cardona as the only person remaining from that Super Bowl winning team 6 years ago. And Jahlani Tavai is also in this group. Another name that's getting tossed around for a release. I wouldn't be surprised. And I don't think they're drafting. The Patriots are going to draft a linebacker early on, even though there is some good talent. I'm more focused on the middle and later rounds. And with that being said, let's dive into the prospects. First on my list is another kid I didn't know much about, but got down to the Senior Bowl and was very impressed with the way he played. And also, this guy screams Jahlani Tavai replacement. If we draft him, if Tavai's still on the team at that point, I wouldn't be surprised if we released him after getting Jeffrey Bassa out of Oregon. He is, again, a prospect, rough around the edges, but with proper polishing, he could be a big contributor to a team. Now, is he going to be an all-pro player? Probably not. But he fits the scheme that Vrabel is putting in place and is very quick, smaller, but very quick at the linebacker position. He's 6'2", 235, and he's a really good athlete. Bassa converted from safety to linebacker, and it was very evident in his play. His coverage abilities were superb to me from what I saw in person, and then watching film, I was really impressed by him. He is very intelligent. He's a good communicator. He wore the green dot not only at Oregon, but got the responsibilities at the Senior Bowl to lead the defense with the green dot, call the plays, be that main communicator on the defensive side of the ball. And it's crazy because, like I said, you see that safety in his play, but he bulked up a little bit and he plays like a middle linebacker. He is not afraid to lower his shoulder and go hit the guy with the ball. And on top of that, he's coming in with blazing speed. He ran a 4.63 40. So pretty impressive there. I think he's like a Tavai in the sense that he probably is more suited as a will linebacker, in my opinion. You know, strictly just getting in the backfield, rushing the quarterback, but also provides really good coverage abilities, you know, against a tight end or against a running back. And I don't think he's going to play Mike linebacker, but he could in a jam, kind of like what Jahlani Tavai did all of last season after Bentley got injured. But I really like Jeffrey Bassa as a prospect. And he's not perfect. He needs to be able to get off blocks better. I think sometimes he can get caught up on blocks in both the run game and the pass game. His pass rush moves aren't really there, but that's something that you can work on, and that takes a little bit of time. That's not an overnight fix, but it's possible. And then maybe, you know, drink a protein shake or two, but at his size, like I said, it fits into Vrabel's system. So it's not necessary, you know, if he is drafted here, but he's just learning the position of linebacker still. You know, it's only been a year. So a guy that's an intriguing prospect, a really good athlete, and a really good guy, which you'll get a sense of in this video. I interviewed Bassa after the Senior Bowl, and again, seemed like a great guy. So, take a listen.
First of all, terrific week, and you earned the green dot for the game today. So, how did that feel?
It felt great. You know, the opportunity for the coaches to trust me with the green dot, you know, that says a lot about my game and what they know about me, right? So, you know, just coming out here, again, everybody aligned and adjusted was my main job, and, you know, did a good job at that. So.
How do you think your performance on the field was today, outside of being able to call the plays?
Yeah, no, I thought it was good. Thought it was decent. I wish, you know, could could have wrapped up the quarterback on the sack that I had very early, but forgot that the quarterbacks were live. I'm so used to tagging off on quarterbacks at practice, but thought it was good. There's always room for improvement, little things that I can fix here and there, but thought it was good.
As far as your game goes, you converted from safety to linebacker. So how do you feel like that has helped you, and is there still similarities in the position and how you play?
Yeah, no doubt. I think it helped me tremendously, being able to cover, but then also being able to be a big linebacker that can stop the run as well. So when I'm matched up with tight ends or running backs, or sometimes even receivers running overs and shallow routes, it's not new to me, right? So there's no mismatch there. And then I feel like just my growth from DB to linebacker has also helped me with the back end as well. I know my DBs are doing the back end, so where I can play underneath.
And then off the field this week, did you make any great connections with players, coaches, scouts, and how was it meeting all of these players you're about to enter the next level with?
Tremendous, man. Like, I'm sitting out here and I'm looking around, just like all the guys, we're about to go into the NFL, NFL draft, right? Some of these guys most of these guys I'll be able to see at Combine, so, to spark up a good conversation again from the Senior Bowl would be good. But, nah, man, I'm so blessed to be down here. So blessed to be down here, just make connection with guys. You always see guys in the SEC, on TV, ACC, teams that are across the country, and you see guys on TV making plays, right? So to be able to be out here, be teammates with some of these guys and go up against these guys one-on-one in practice has been great.
And then how does it feel to know next time you'll be playing in a live game is probably going to be in the NFL?
Yeah, it feels great, man. It feels great. It's a new journey ahead. College football, my last time wearing this Oregon helmet, so I was honored to wear this helmet, left a legacy in this helmet, so now it's time to move on. So, ready for the next ride.
Seems like a really good guy to me that could contribute to the Patriots locker room and on the field to a team with still a good amount of needs. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Bassa go in the third round, but it's wide-ranging where people rank him going. He may fall into the fourth round, but a guy that I wouldn't be upset taking with one of our third-round picks, honestly. Hopefully he falls to the fourth round and we can snag him there, but very good prospect in my opinion, and one I would be thrilled to have on the Patriots. Next is Cody Simon out of Ohio State. Another guy that's really impressive as a contributor to a locker room and on the field. He was the leader of Ohio State's defense in their run to a championship this past season. And his accolades. He's been around for a while. Listen to this. First team All Big Ten with 112 tackles. He was the Rose Bowl and national champion defensive player of the game. On top of that, he's been to 8 bowl games in total. He's played in 8 bowl games. I mean, when you think about Ohio State, that's not too surprising. They've made the CFP a couple of times, so not a big surprise, but that is a very big number. That's almost a full season of bowl games, which is insane. I don't know where that ranks up against other people in college football, but I got to assume that's near the top of the list, if not first. So, first of all, just a winner. He knows how to win, and he's a leader of a winning team. He wasn't a role player. He was the guy in charge of a winning defense. I think Simon could slot in at middle linebacker in a 3-4 where he's not responsible for as much of the field, where he has to be as rangy. It just gives less responsibility of range, But I think he could be a Sam in a 4-3 where he's got coverage abilities and could be responsible for a third of the field on the outside, or where, you're not worrying about as much. But he's a smart player. He kind of just gets it. He's one of those players where he just gets it. He's got really good communication skills. He can dissect defenses and help out teammates. He's got a good reaction time. I wouldn't say tremendous, but really good reaction time. And I like his pursuit. I read up a couple of scouting reports on him, and they were iffy, some of them, about his pursuit. I like it. I think he flies to the ball at a good angle, I should say, not a right angle. But I think where he lacks is he's so technical that he relies on that too much. Sometimes he just needs to be aggressive and just go lay the hammer. He lacks that sometimes, in my opinion. But other than that, like I said, when he relies on his technique, I don't know if it was just the national championship and it was nerves, but he did this weird hop. They hiked the ball and then he hopped and then started going. He needs to cut that out. That just wastes time to get to the ball and just not a good habit to form, but coaching will get rid of that fast. That's a quick fix, in my opinion. Not worried about that, but something weird. And then on top of that, he's not a prototypical build at linebacker. So that's what pushes his draft stock back. In my opinion, he's a third-round talent. He's not going to go until the fourth round probably, though. Again, a guy that if he falls to our fourth-round pick, I would be thrilled to pick him. And then lastly, we have Smael Mondon Jr. out of Georgia. Now, Mondon is projected to go in the 6th, 7th, or maybe even undrafted. But I would take a chance on him with one of our 6th or one of our 7th round picks. Because a guy that was at the Senior Bowl, and what really stood out to me was Mondon's ability to cover running backs. I'm not even sure what the name of the drill is, but it's when the running back, it's one-on-one, the running back runs and either picks left or right, and the linebacker has to react and go cover them, which is just it really puts linebackers in a tough spot. I don't really like that drill because it usually makes linebackers look bad, and it's not normal play speed going around a group of linemen in the trenches. But Mondon was the only guy that I saw that for a couple of times really clamped up the running back, which was super impressive to me, and it was through his athleticism, and so I was very intrigued by him. But diving into his resume, obviously playing for Georgia for a while, he has 2 national championships, and he just turned 22 years old, so he's not that old, and he's been playing for championship caliber programs for a while now. He's 6'3", 235. So again, that leaner or smaller frame for a linebacker. Yeah, I would say he's slender. Actually, his shoulders aren't broad. He's very slender, but he moves well at his size, and he tested tremendously at the combine. He ran a 4.58 40-yard dash. So he moves around the field well. With that being said, like I mentioned at the Senior Bowl, it's on tape too. He can cover running backs, he can cover tight ends, and he plays in the open field more so than in the box, which was interesting how they used him, but I think he could play in the box because he likes to hit. And so it gives him some ability to line up in multiple spots. And he's not going to excel in the box, I would say, but you can get away with him there because he likes to hit. You don't want to play him at middle linebacker, though, because the one thing that is noticeable on film is that he does not process things quickly. I don't know how Mondon watched film, how much he committed to the playbook and watching film during his time at Georgia, but I will say if he wants to succeed in the NFL, he needs to put a lot of time in the film room and knowing the playbook like the back of his hand. So I tried to do some research on that, and all I could find was him saying that he likes to do that stuff, but I gotta take that with a grain of salt because I don't know the guy personally. He seems like a really nice guy, lives up to the reputation of his name being Smael, but I don't know if he hits the playbook and film room as much as he should. That's what concerns me. The athletic ability is there. It's limited, though, because of his slimmer build. He's not going to rush in the middle of the trenches. He's not going to hit an A or B gap and get through, at least consistently, I would say. But he has the ability and speed to rush around the outside and get to the quarterback or get in the backfield, make tackles for losses, in my opinion. So with that being said, he is a guy I would take a risk on in the later rounds. He might even go undrafted, and I would love to see him on the Patriots as well. He's got ability to succeed in a niche role, I would say, in the NFL, just worrying about rushing, not worrying about a million different things. And if he can succeed and excel in that, he's going to have a long career. But that's a guy I would look at towards the very tail end of the draft. That's all I've got for linebackers. And finally, we have defensive backs. Well, New England, and a bit of a shocker for me, personally at least, signed Carlton Davis and made him one of the top paid cornerbacks in the league to pair with Christian Gonzalez. And with that being said, the Patriots now have a top 5 duo there, and he joins a group of Christian Gonzalez, Marcus Jones, and the recently re-signed Alex Austin. So right there you have 4 people that are fine playing on your field. You're never going to worry about them. I was a big fan of Alex Austin. I thought he was going to get the CB2 role this year, but I'm more thrilled that we got Carlton Davis, obviously. There's no doubt in my mind that this is a top 5 group in the league. Going back to safety. Strong safeties, we have way too many, honestly, in my opinion. Peppers, Mapu, Duggar, even Del Pettis. All guys that are more of thumpers and like to play closer to the line of scrimmage. So what are we missing? Well, it's really that true free safety, in my opinion. And that's why I wanted to bring back Jonathan Jones, because he played that role towards the end of the season and did it pretty well, in my opinion, and had versatility to play cornerback still if we needed him to. Obviously, that's not the case, but it's a position I think the Patriots could target in the draft. Not early. Again, these are going to be middle to late round guys, but we need a guy that can cover well. So who are the prospects? First, we have Billy Bowman Jr. out of Oklahoma. Not a guy I was really familiar with, but another guy I saw down at the Senior Bowl this year and really fell in love with. He was one of my favorite prospects down there. Bowman offers both serviceable defense in coverage and in the run game. He really is a well-rounded player, in my opinion. If you watch the film, if you watch him in person, he looks like the quarterback of the defense. He's calling out everything. His communication is awesome, and you can tell he knows how to dissect an offense well, understands route concepts, understands situational football. I didn't see him making a lot of mistakes. In fact, it looked like, from the film I watched, defenses were purposely not throwing his way and trying to avoid him. But he has that ability to really be the lone safety deep. He has the ability to go too deep, play cover 3, play in quarters. You name it, he can probably play it. And he likes to hit too, which was evident throughout the whole season and at the Senior Bowl. So if you want him to walk up towards the line of scrimmage and be a strong safety, I'm all for it. But this guy's really good at covering. In man coverage, he is limited. You'll never see him on the outside, in my opinion. Not by design or in an ideal situation. But I would say he's trustworthy against slot receivers or smaller receivers. Just not those bigger tight ends or X jump ball receivers, because he's aggressive. He could jam someone at the line of scrimmage, and he also has good technique to make up for speedy guys. Where his technique completely lacks is his tackling. His tackling is really bad. So that is something that needs to be focused on. And you know what? That's not an easy fix, but, I will take a guy that's going to be a last resort tackler and hope he can fix that. Actually, kind of take that back. I would like him to be a good tackler, obviously, but Bowman is really good in coverage and really good against the run game in close quarters. So I would take a chance on him. And he's pretty fast too, which was evident in his game plan, but he ran a 4.42 at the combine. And he also contributes in special teams. I think if you just wanted him to go out there and hit people, he would gladly do that on kickoff, on punt team. But he also acts as a returner. He did return kicks in college, so just an option out there. He is not the ideal size for a safety, though. He stands at just 5'10", but he is almost 200 pounds. So on the smaller side, but a guy I was really impressed with. Again, all he really needs to fix is his tackling. I could see him going at the end of the second round or the third round, early third round. Draft projections have him going in the third round probably, but I would be completely okay seeing him go in the end of the second round. I think that would be a win for a team, and it would be a steal for the Patriots if we got him at 77. 69 is probably where around he's projected, but this kid is talented, and I think he's going to have a very long, successful career in the NFL. So remember the name, Billy Bowman Jr. And another guy who's very well known in the college game and is kind of getting overlooked in this draft as my next prospect on this list. That would be Malachi Moore out of Alabama. Malachi exceeds in deep coverage, and again, similarly to Billy Bowman, you're comfortable with Moore being that lone safety back there and really taking on any assignment you give him in coverage back there. But he is a very niche player. He's only going to play back there. He doesn't really like to hit, and he's a form tackler, but he's not going to come up and lay the hammer on a kid. It doesn't play well sometimes at the next level when you're not willing to tackle. That was one of Christian Gonzalez's few knocks going into the draft, which was part of the reason he fell to us. But yeah, Malachi Moore really lacks aggression, and because of it, he's a liability against against the run game, because they'll run right by him. He's waiting for you to run at him so he can make a form tackle, and they'll run right by him. It was really bad to watch, honestly. Complete liability in the run game. He doesn't get off blocks, and he's never going to be useful in the box, in my opinion, in the NFL. But man, does this guy know how to play pass coverage defense. You don't trick him. He dissects a defense very well. He understands concepts. He knows what's going to go on. And another guy, you could tell, offenses were avoiding him on the field because they didn't want to pass his way. And again, really trustworthy. Maybe if you get him out there as a nickel corner or a nickel defensive back, yeah, sure. He'd be great in that. But his ceiling is very low because of his lack of ability to play defense at a high level against the run. Anyway, I think he's a third-round talent because he is that good at what he does well, and that's pass defense, like I just ranted about. And I would take him in the third round knowing that would be his role, and he would do very well at it. Being a ball hawk back there, not letting anything go over the top, not letting anything get by him. But people look at this run defense, and it really takes a hit to his draft stock, and he's projected to go in the 5th round. If he falls to the 5th round, I'm sorry, that might be one of the biggest draft steals for a team, and I'm hoping it's the Patriots. Very talented player, very one-dimensional though. That's Malachi Moore for you. Last guy I want to talk about today, and he is projected to go in the tail end of the draft. That is Jaylin Smith out of USC. Now, Smith will turn 22 this season, so not that old, and he stands at 5'10", 187 pounds. Not ideal. He does play cornerback, and he does play slot corner. So, you know, you can get away with being that small in the slot, but no one ever feels comfortable with a guy that small at corner. He runs a 4.45 40, but he moves very well, which is why I think he can, through coaching, succeed as a slot corner. He played slot corner in 2022 and 2023 and played really well. USC bumped him to the outside in 2024, and he didn't do as well there. In my opinion, he looked better as a slot in his previous 2 seasons. But the plus side of Smith is that he likes to hit as a cornerback, which you don't see too often. His technique definitely needs a lot of work. His footwork is a little iffy. He plays with a wide base, so his shoulders are over his feet, and he flows well. Like, he moves around fast and is smooth, but his footwork definitely needs work. So, another thing that really lowers his ceiling and is making him go so late is his IQ for the game. He kind of processes stuff slowly, and I don't think he identifies route combinations and plays very well. So if you combine him with Malachi Moore, that's one hell of a player. So maybe draft both of them, and Malachi Moore can just tell him what's going on, and then Smith can make the play. And he likes to hit, so he'll play against the run. And he plays bigger than his size. So I maybe beef up a little bit, and I could see him like as a comfortable like nickel. But Smith is an intriguing prospect. I would like for you folks to go watch his film at USC and tell me what you think, because I think there's stuff to work with there. And again, this is a position the Patriots are not gonna really target early, because we have such a stacked room already. But I could see them going to get a developmental piece in hopes that he turns into a solid backup and a guy that you can feel comfortable getting on the field. Maybe Marcus Jones doesn't return after his contract is up and Smith can step in that role. You never know. That's why I went with this here. He's a developmental project and could take over for Marcus Jones in a couple years down the road. Well, that's all I've got for today. We covered edge, we covered linebacker, we covered defensive backs. I will be posting another video next week, and that is going to include wide receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks. So, big needs there. Wide receiver, pretty big need in running back, and one that Vrabel said the Patriots will be drafting. So keep an eye out on that. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. I appreciate it. Until next week, I will catch you. This is Paul Talks Patriots. Peace.